Hey friendo, Steve here, and welcome back to the Friendoville channel. It's time for another edition of Untitled Steve News. I'm on the precipice of finding a name for this show, but I'm not there yet. Anyways, let's dive right into it. I was very happy this morning when I woke up. I checked the Twitter, and I saw this video on Star Trek's official YouTube channel. Anson Mount, Ethan Peck, and Rebecca Romijn, of course, the three cast members on Discovery that were part of the Captain Pike Enterprise, they're getting their own show after months and months and months of fans begging CBS for CBS All Access to run a Captain Pike Enterprise show. It looks like it's actually happening. It has been confirmed, and it's called Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which alone is a wonderful title. Sounds like the old school Pike Enterprise is going to be getting its own slew of adventures, finding alien life on strange new worlds. I think that's fantastic. It's of course, this is a video filmed very much pandemic style, which is becoming its own genre of filmmaking, where it's just Anson Mount and his iPhone, Ethan Peck and his iPhone, and Rebecca Romijn and her iPhone, all seemingly very exciting to be able to break this news to all the Star Trek nerds like myself out there. And this is terrific. I mean, who knows when they'll be able to actually start filming, given everything that's happening in the world right now. But hey, this is really, really cool. At some point, we're going to be getting a new Star Trek show. There's like a ton of them in development right now. They got Lower Decks, the animated show. They've got potentially, there's rumors that Admiral Janeway is going to be getting her own show. So this is really cool. I noticed a rumor yesterday that Jake Cannavale, who was in The Mandalorian a couple months ago, apparently he's in talks right now, or he was rumored to have done a screen test with Ethan Peck, of course, the Spock, to potentially play maybe James Kirk in this show, which would be pretty interesting, man. Look, we all know what ends up happening to Captain Pike. In the original series, he gets into an accident and he's confined to this wheelchair thing. He can't talk, and they totally reference that. They had a really disturbing sort of future memory thing that Captain Pike experienced. And so I'm wondering, man, maybe they can give Captain Pike a better send-off than he got in the original series, where he got fucked up in this accident, and then they dropped him off on that planet where, like, you know, it's all in the mind, but you get to enact your fantasies or whatever. Anyways, I'm wondering if they could do something like that. Like the first couple seasons would be Captain Pike and the Enterprise, and then maybe the accident happens, and then Kirk takes over, and then, but you get, they flesh it out a little bit more. I don't know. There's all sorts of things they could do with this. I think it's terrific. I'm really happy they're actually doing this, CBS All Access. As it pertains to Star Trek so far, I think they've been doing a bang-up job so far, so couldn't be happier about that. Moving on. This is hilarious. All sorts of Batman fans were up in arms earlier this week because Robert Pattinson, of course, playing the Batman in the upcoming Batman movie, directed by Matt Reeves, had mentioned that he's not too keen on bulking up for the Batman role. Of course, this led to all sorts of really silly internet chatter amongst, the Batman fans out there saying, "Oh, dude, what are you even talking about? You can't be a skinny Batman. You can't be like an out of shape Batman. That's not going to work." And so I went through and I looked at this interview at GQ, and there's full disclosure, I think this is silly, and I think that Robert Pattinson is fantastic. And if you don't believe me, go watch the Safdie brothers movie, Good Time. That'll turn you around on the guy's acting chops. He's terrific. Oh, and The Lighthouse, which just dropped like last year. Terrific movies. And as far as I'm concerned, I am really looking forward to Robert Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne, playing Batman. So this is basically what he told GQ. The article states, the film studio hired a trainer who left Pattinson with a Bosu ball, a single weight, and a sincere plea to use both. I guess this is when pandemic hit. But right now, he says, he's ignoring her. Quote, I think if you're working out all the time, you're part of the problem, he says, sighing. By you, he means other actors. You set a precedent. No one was doing this in the 70s. Even James Dean, he wasn't exactly ripped. He says back when he was the star of the Twilight franchise, the one time they told me to take my shirt off, I think they told me to put it back on again. But Batman is Batman. Pattinson called another actor on the film, Zoe Kravitz, the other day, and she said she was exercising 5 days a week during their exile from set. Pattinson, well, he says, literally, I'm just barely doing anything. Sighing again. I'm essentially on a meal plan for Batman. Thank God I don't know what I'd be doing other than that. But I mean, other than I can survive, I'll have oatmeal with like vanilla protein powder on it, and I'll barely even mix it up. It's extraordinarily easy. I eat out of cans and stuff. I'll literally put Tabasco inside a tuna can and just eat it out of the can. Here's the thing about Robert Pattinson. Literally, later on in the interview, he says this. Back in the day, he talks about being in his 20s and doing media interviews. He said, I liked saying sort of provocative things because I thought it was funny. I get very, very uncomfortable about doing sort of earnest things. So it sounds like he's just sort of downplaying expectations for what his physique is going to be like in the Batman movie. Look at this picture of him jogging on the beach. I think he looks fine here. He looks totally like he could be Batman. I don't think you could... Look, here's the thing. Number one, Batman is not supposed to be this giant hulking monster, right? He's supposed to be stealthy. He's supposed to be sleek. He's supposed to be quick on his feet. Not this giant... I actually was not a fan of Ben Affleck's sort of Batman look. I get it. It was the Dark Knight Returns look, which is beefier. It's bulkier. He's older. He's not relying on being sneaky and stealthy anymore. He's relying basically on brute strength and experience. This is Batman in his early years. If you want to take a look at what this actually probably should look like, go to Batman Year One. Or, I know this isn't like, they're not pulling from this, but Paul Pope's Batman 100, which is a futuristic take on Batman, sort of an alternate take on Batman. That is the Batman that I prefer. Just sort of a normal guy. He's fit, he's athletic, but I never really thought he had to be like a super buffed out guy. And I'll be honest with you, history is kind of on my side here. The first and probably best Batman of the modern era was, of course, Michael Keaton. Look at him. Granted, that's just his back, but still, there's not a lot of muscle going on there. Look at Val Kilmer here in Batman Forever. He's got muscles. He's not like huge or anything, though. Look at George Clooney right here. Granted, this is from Out of Sight. This isn't from the Batman movie, but I really don't think he was all that ripped. I don't know, man. It's all ado about nothing. Now, later on in the interview, he talks about what it means for him to be Batman, being in bigger movies. He actually talked about the idea that he wasn't considered by his agent as one of the A-list actors who's being considered for A-list movies. And he was like, dude, why not? I want to do that stuff. I like the security of it. He also has some really cool things to say about playing Batman. GQ asks him, the interviewer asks him, can I ask why the Batman is something that you wanted to do? He says, the interviewer says, I can think of a lot of reasons to want to do it, but I can also frankly think of a lot of reasons to not want to do it. One of the reasons not to want to do it, I think, would be all the hubbub that fans would start creating when you're talking about not being all roided out to play Batman. But anyways, Pattinson says, what are the reasons not to do it? He says, I think sometimes the downsides, which I've definitely thought about, the downsides kind of seem like upsides. I kind of like the fact that not only are there very, very, very well done versions of the character, which seem pretty definitive, but I was thinking that there are multiple definitive playings of the character. I was watching the making of Batman and Robin the other day. And even then, George Clooney was saying that he was worried about the fact that it's sort of been done, that a lot of the ground you should cover with the character has already been covered, and that was in like 96, 97. He continues, and then there's Christian Bale and Ben Affleck's one. And then I was thinking, it's fun when more and more ground has been covered. Like, where is the gap? You've seen this sort of lighter version, you've seen a kind of jaded version, a kind of more animalistic version, and the puzzle of it becomes quite satisfying to think, where's my opening? And also, do I have anything inside me which would work if I could do it? And then also, it's a legacy part, right? I like that. There's so few things in life where people passionately care about it before it's even happened. you can almost feel that pushback of anticipation, so it kind of energizes you a little bit. It's different from when you're doing a part and there's a possibility that no one will even see it, right? In some ways, it makes you a little kind of spicy. That's what I want, man. I want a guy who's like really thinking about this stuff, who's thinking, what can I add to this character who's already been done definitively multiple times? I'm really actually excited for this. I think Matt Reeves is a terrific director. Robert Pattinson is just an absolutely terrific actor, and I hope he sticks around in the role for some time to come. I think that if the DC extended universe, if the DC movie universe really wants something interesting on their hands, which they can rely on as part of like a big blockbuster franchise, I think Robert Pattinson is the guy. I've already seen some shots of him as Batman. We've seen the Batmobile. So far, I'm blown away by everything. I think it's really terrific. So, but, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. That's it for the Untitled Steve News Show. If you want to help support the channel, go to mfshophere.com and check out my offerings there. I got some comic books of my own. Maybe I want to get those made as movies, and Robert Pattinson can star in those. I'll get a big old payday. How about that? I think it sounds good. Anyways, thanks for watching. Until next time, talk to you later.